time for movies on rock and roll football. It's Meet Me in the Foyer with Linda Marrick and Jawa.
Meet Me in the Foyer.
Thank you for choosing to meet me in the foyer again, and this week feels like a fiesta of film family fun. And we're all such close friends here that I think of us as family. And joining us, our movie matriarch, Miss Linda Marrick. How are you?
Hello. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Yes, feeling very good. You have been busy?
As ever, you know. I have screenings almost every day, and which is good. I'm not complaining, and it's quite busy at the moment with lots of things coming out. Lots of smaller stuff coming out as well. So like it's quite interesting.
Yeah, it has been a sort of heavy release few weeks, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Sort of quite thin on news, but quite a lot of new actual films hitting the cinemas, which is good. And what of those new films will you be reviewing for us this week?
I will be reviewing an adaptation of quite a popular book, and also adaptation of a play based on the book. So I'm reviewing the new adaptation of Kiss of the Spider Woman. Not to be confused of Kiss of Spider Woman from 1985, which is a whole other ball game. So I'll be reviewing that, and I'm also reviewing Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Not just The Mummy, but Lee Cronin's The Mummy, and there's a reason why it's Lee Cronin's The Mummy.
Yes, indeed. I look forward to that explanation and those reviews. Excellent. So right, that's the introductions concluded. Now on to the plot. And this week, that includes my classic movie review, the movie news, and phase one begins, as it always does, with the box office top 10.
Meet Me in the Foyer.
So it's box office top 10 time as it stands, as we record. And at number 10... Linda reviewed this last week. I murdered the pronunciation, so I'll go with the English. The Stranger, its first week on release.
Actually, quite pleased that it's made it to the top 10. I was, and you know, Francois Ozon's got a following. His films always get seen, and doesn't matter how. And also, I don't think this has opened that big nationally, so it's always good to see one of his movies in the top 10. I would have liked to see it do a bit better, but you know, this is a man who releases a movie every year, and every year people go back and see his movies, and I think this is one of his best ones so far.
Right. I assume there are Ozon festivals in France where they put forward his films.
Yeah, I don't know, actually. I've never really thought about that, but you know, there are probably like seasons, you know, at specialist cinemas, and he's like he's a filmmaker in the real sort of classic way, like, you know, in the same like how you would think of Godard, you know, in the past. So he's someone who probably not as pretentious as that whole sort of Nouvelle Vague people lot, but he really genuinely is very innovative in the way he moves from one genre to another with each movie, and I find that so impressive.
Excellent. I look forward to checking it out. Above that, an interesting directorial debut from James McAvoy. It's California Schemin', also on its first week on release. That's at number 9. Have you seen that one, Linda?
I haven't. I was supposed to be reviewing it last week, but as I say, last week I took like a bit of a time off from writing reviews. I did our show, but yeah, no, I haven't seen it. I've not heard great things about it. It's okay, apparently.
Okay. Well, it's okay. He's still got his training wheels on, and I'm sure he'll produce more films in the future. Above that, an interesting one for us, or all of us in the audio world, it's Undertone, also on its first week on release, and that's a Canadian supernatural podcast horror.
That I have seen. That is very scary, and actually, like, sound-wise is just really perfect. And it's a movie that manages to really scare the bejesus out of you without showing you much, which is all about suggestion and how sound is really important in horror. So yeah, I quite like that.
Okay, well, I was interested in seeing it as it's a podcast horror, but now you said it's really scary, I of course won't.
Oh, sorry. It's more stressful than scary. But I did have to close my eyes a few times.
Oh, okay. If you're scared, then I've got no chance. Above that, it's You, Me and Tuscany, another first week release film. That's a comedy romance starring Halle Bailey and Regé-Jean Page.
Nothing to say about that. Not seen it. I was, as I say, I was on holiday last week, so the week where it was shown, I did not go and see it, and don't know anything about it. I'm gonna try and catch up. If it stays in the top 10, I'm gonna have to obviously see it.
Above that one, neither of us have or will see, I'm sure, it's BTS World Tour concert film. Moving on from that, one that's been in the charts now for 6 weeks and has made 13 million. It's Hoppers, Pixar's latest movie, and we've discussed that for every week now for about 7 weeks.
Good movie. Yeah. Quite fun. A really good Pixar movie, and I'm always happy when Pixar delivers. I'm always happy that they're making good money at the box office. I have nothing more to say about it, really. I thought it was really well done.
Have they ever made a bad movie? I mean, I know they've made less great movies.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I can think of a bad Pixar movie.
Yeah, no, I think most people had a lot to say about the offshoot of Toy Story. What was it called? It'll come back to me.
Okay.
Carry on, it'll come back to me.
Offshoot of Toy Story?
Yeah, around the character of Buzz Lightyear. I think it was called Lightyear.
Lightyear, yeah, I like that.
I really liked it, but most people don't think that's a really good movie. Personally, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, no, totally. Above that, it's The Magic Faraway Tree that's been out for 3 weeks. It's made a wonderful 11.5 million, and you can catch Linda's review on our previous episode.
And have you seen it yet?
Haven't, no.
Oh, come on, it was made for you.
It was. And if there are any children out there that need an escort to go and see it, I'm free. Just knock on the door and we'll all go along and have a wonderful time.
Oh, it's a lovely film.
I am looking forward to seeing that, I have to admit. And another film that Linda reviewed on a previous show last week, I believe. Also, it was The Drama that's been out for 2 weeks now and has made just under 6 million.
Good movie. I mean, it's a Marmite movie. Some people absolutely hated it. Others really loved it. I am in the camp of loved it, and I will have nothing bad said about it. I think it's just very intense and very clever, and the ending is actually really satisfying.
Wonderful. Okay. Above that, a wonderful film. I believe Linda called it her film of the year so far. It's Project Hail Mary that's been out for a month now and has made 27 million. So an absolute
in the UK, yeah. I think it's made like 500 million already. Right. Around that, almost 500 million worldwide. So let me have a look. Bear with me.
Well, I know I've been looking for my nearest IMAX cinema to catch it in, so I haven't managed to catch it yet. But yes,
I mean, it was always going to do well, this, because the book is very popular, and Ryan Gosling is someone that people really adore, and they might not see him in every film, but when he's made 500 million. There's 515.9. I think it will, and it actually, the budget for it gross was 248, and net is 200. So I'm going to assume the 48 million was promotion. Yeah. And it's, exceeded sort of that number. And I think they knew they were going to make that kind of money. It's really well reviewed, and people are going back to see it more than once, which is always a good thing. Really fabulous movie, and I think it will make $1 billion eventually.
Right. But keeping it off the top spot this week, On its third week of release, it's the Super Mario Galaxy movie that's made 28 million already at the UK box office.
Insane.
Hey, big guy! Oh, you wanted to see us?
Don't move, I'll be right up. Sipping the soup, cleaning the paint, boodle-doo, boodle-doo, and also trim the bonsai bush. Here we go. Hey, Luigi! What's up, Mario? Behold! I made a masterpiece for Princess Peach. What do you think?
Love the colors!
It's trash.
How dare you look at my masterpiece and say that?
I'll burn the skin off your bones!
Wow. Sorry about that. That's the old Bowser talking. Still working through my demons, I suppose. Anyway, I need my 8 hours or else I really turn into a monster.
I'm Bowser Jr., and I'm gonna be taking my father now!
Princess Rosalina, you're coming with me!
Yeah, again, it's one of those movies where, I mean, I quite liked it, to be honest with you. I thought it was fun. It's for younger ages. I was more amused by the absolute lack of understanding from certain critics who just were just, handing out 0 stars and 1 stars without actually even realizing what they were reviewing. So, hey. Who am I to say anything?
No, absolutely no. Well, that's not what you're here for, Linda, and we listen to every word you say. And yeah, that's the box office top 10 for this week.
Meet me in the foyer.
So it's review time, and this one, take keen interest, charades players, as this next work has been a novel, a play, a musical, has now been adapted for the second time on film. This time from director Bill Condon, who brought us the first 2 Twilight films, but also Mr. Holmes. So let Linda embrace you with the kiss of the Spider-Woman.
Come and find me here, my son.
What's your favorite movie?
I don't have one.
I couldn't live without movies. One of them I'll never forget. Kiss the Spider-Woman.
I've some counsel I can give. You need but ask it. I'm so very glad to share this good advice. You've got to learn how not to be where you are. The more you face reality, the more you scar. So close your eyes and you'll become a movie star. Why much to stay where you are?
You have hundreds of movies. I have one.
And the moon grows dimmer at the tide's low ebb, and her black beach shimmer. And you're aching to move, but you're caught in the web of the Spider-Woman in her velvet
as you said, Bill Condon. I mean, he's a really fabulous director. He also brought us Dreamgirls and Kinsey and all sorts of other really fabulous LGBTQ um, uh, movies, all around that kind of themed movies. I thought this is absolutely visually stunning. So the story is based on a book from a writer, Manuel Puig, and the novel was released in 1976, and then in 1985 it was adapted in 1985 by Hector Bezo into a Portuguese language movie starring William Hurt, Julia, and Sonia Braga, who I absolutely adored, like really fabulous Brazilian actress. And that particular film for me is what got me interested. Actually, I hadn't read the book before seeing the 1985 movie, starring William Hurt, and I was a huge William Hurt fan. And I think through that movie, I became a massive William Hurt fan. So that was, as I said, 1985 and 1992. This was once again made into a musical in Broadway. And now it feels like this latest adaptation is more leans more towards adapting that particular musical rather than the book or the movie of 1985. So in that way, I quite like that. I quite like, and I'm a huge fan of musicals, and I always have been. And anything with a musical, really, like anything with where people just suddenly burst into song. That's actually some people's idea of hell. For me, that is really like my ideal movie. My ideal movie is a movie that starts normally and then people start breaking into singing song and dancing. And I think the whole of Hollywood was based on that. And whenever there is a new musical, I'm really interested. It deals with some really bleak ideas and themes here. So the story is set in Argentina. In the book, it's actually set in between Argentina and Brazil, in a country you don't really know the country, and it's obviously written by someone who was not sort of allowed to express themselves in their own country. So set in Argentina in 1983 during a brutal final months of a period of state violence called the Dirty War. It is based very much on real events in Argentina. And at the end of the movie, actually, there's footage of the kind of the revolution or what happened afterwards, and people being liberated from prison. Tons of people had been taken to prison, loads of students, intellectuals and politicians, mainly sort of left-wing politicians taken and tortured and killed whilst they were in prison. So at the heart of the story, there are two different men sharing our prison cell. Luis Molina, played by Tonatiuh. I think that's how you say his name. He's a gay window dresser jailed for, being who he is. And Valentin Arrigui, played by Diego Luna, who is fabulous. I love Diego Luna, who's always good in everything. He's a passionate left-wing activist. So to start with, Valentin is absolutely puzzled. Why has this guy been sent here? I don't really want to be sharing a jail cell with a gay guy, a very effeminate gay guy who's very theatrical in the way he speaks, and he's walks into this cell, and he's like putting up film posters all over the place, specifically posters from a movie that he loves, a movie called Kiss of Spider-Woman, starring one of his favorite favorite actresses, called Ingrid Luna. And that particular character, suddenly, sort of to escape the bleakness of the situation, Molina entertains his new cellmate by telling him the story of of this film that he saw many years ago and he became a fan. So the Jennifer Lopez plays the role of Ingrid Luna, sorry, and she also plays the role of Aurora, who is a character from the film inside the film. And yeah, it's like actually it's not, it's kind of layered. It's a really layered sort of triple performance, but like you get used to the idea very quickly. She also plays the character of the Spider Woman. This is kind of mythical creature that um, only wants, if you give her a kiss, she will take your life forever. So yeah, so the story unfolds across two intertwined narratives: that of the movie where Luis Molina, who is the gay guy, he's basically been deliberately sent in to spy on Valentin. Valentin has some secrets of the movement, the revolutionary movement that they are trying to get from him. And they've sent Molina to get the secrets from him. Suddenly, I mean, whilst he's there, he can't really do it. He really warms to him, and more or less they kind of get closer, and he falls in love with Valentine, and vice versa, really. So, from there on, we are like show. It is a film that is hard hitting both from the LGBT point of view as well as from political point of view. So the difference was between this version and this 1985 version. This is a lot more stylized and expansive. So the earlier movie relied a lot on sort of intimate performances, and it was more minimalist, really. This is anything but minimalist. I just thought this was really well done. I don't quite understand why this was completely ignored during Oscar season or sort of award season. It makes absolutely no sense to me that Jennifer Lopez did not get a nomination. I mean, they were struggling to find someone to stick into that best female category, to the point where, finding anyone who would fit in, while Jennifer Lopez was just there, and she really deserved I think she is so good in this. Like, she sings, she dances, she performs. She's got like that kind of like Hollywood, like classic Hollywood acting with the face, she's brilliant. She is genuinely compelling. Yeah, and obviously the two main characters, the two sort of male characters, that also like really, I mean, actors that also really brilliant. And as I said, I genuinely think Diego Luna is one of the greatest actors of his generation, and here he really showcases it once again. I think this is a story about storytelling itself. It's a story, it's a fantasy that is built as a comfort for the person, for grim times being had in this prison. The film's structure but the performances are what make it really, really special, to be honest. And as I say again, I don't understand why this did not appear in any I don't actually even know if it got any kind of nomination. So quite surprising, really. Yeah, I really like this, and I did not expect to like it as much as I did. Being a huge fan of the original, I say the original, they're not. They're both adaptations of the same text. So, I think saying that it's an adaptation of the 1985 movie would not be right, even though they both have that kind of like a fantasy element. They are two very different movies. Yeah, I really liked it, and go and see it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
It's had a a very long release. It came out last year. Last was it January? It got its premiere at Sundance, didn't it? And then it came out in October.
Yeah.
It's taken a long time for it to
It's
find a
just,
release over here, hasn't it?
and also it's made by the Matt Damon and Ben Affleck's
Oh, right.
company, and I feel like it was Jennifer Lopez who really wanted to remake because she really loves the original, or she was a fan of the 1985 movie and this and of the musical and decided to remake it. I'm so happy they've actually agreed to do it, but at the same time, I just feel, and it's also been released here by Sony. I think in America it was released by uh, MGM, I think, Amazon, I think, because their film company has a contract with both Netflix and Amazon. So yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
I just go
It's
on.
no, 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 not at all. I wonder whether it's being completely ignored is a sort of sign of the times we live in, perhaps, because it's sort of the write-up on it says it was sort of a complete box office bomb in America. Despite what the critics thought, and I wonder if it made me think immediately of Emilia Perez, which was
It's so much better than I mean, I liked Emilia Perez, but it's so much better than Emilia Perez. It is it has more sort of it's easier to watch than Emilia Perez. It's more of like a straightforward storyline. The storyline in the prison is a more straightforward storyline. I think Emilia Perez is a good movie, but it was a bit too out there for most people, and most people were quite offended by it. I I don't think this is like Emilia Perez at all. I just thought it was so well done, and I was impressed by everyone's performance. And I'm completely baffled as to why it appears in absolutely nobody's top 10. I think that's more to do with, as we go back to campaigning,
yeah.
and when you decide, I think releasing it at Sundance was probably a big mistake. I think they should have waited for somewhere like Cannes or Venice, and you get more of a more sort of PR pizzazz when you release movies in those kind of film festivals. But that's just me. Yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, you could well be right. Excellent. Okay, well, that sounds like a very interesting film to hunt down. If it's, I'm going to project that maybe it's not on a huge general release, but I could be wrong.
Oh, I could. I'll check for you actually. Just give me 1 second. Okay.
I was actually surprised as I was listening how many um, trans-related films that there are, and how many of them I've actually seen
Yeah.
over the years as I looked it up, because I thought there wouldn't be many, because
Yeah.
I could only think of Amelia Perez and The Crying Game, but of course we've had Dallas Buyers Club and The Danish Girl, and
Well, this isn't, he's not trans. So he's a gay man. He's an effeminate gay man. He's not trans. At no point does it say in the movie that he's trans at all. So
oh, okay, the
yeah,
writer
no,
must be
he's not. No,
erroneous.
he is a man. So um actually I mean, this is being released by Sony, and funny enough, it does not say how many screens. Usually it tells you like how many locations. So I'm gonna assume it's not getting a big release. I'm gonna assume it's about 100.
Yeah,
That's what I
yeah.
think. Yeah.
Okay,
I'll
well,
assume it's about 100 because if you compare it to something like The Mummy, that's getting like a proper
oh yes,
national
absolutely.
release. So yeah.
Okay, well, if you want to lock lips with the Spider Woman, hunt it down and find it in the cinema near you, hopefully. Right, let's move on now to the movie news.
Meet me in the foyer.
In the movie news, Chris Hemsworth is set to return as Tyler Rake in Extraction 3, which is set to start shooting this summer. And I must say, for a a pretty what shall I say? An action shoot 'em up film that's not really breaking new ground. I really enjoyed the first two.
I like the first one, yeah. I haven't seen the second one. Why haven't I seen the second one? I don't think I even reviewed it.
Oh, it's worth a watch, I have to say.
Yeah,
Maybe not
I
up to the level of the first, but yeah.
I really liked the first one. I thought the first one was really fun,
Absolutely.
like quite sort of, action filled. And it's Russo brothers that produced it, didn't they?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, and I like the fact as well that it's got a lot of European actors, and they speak in their mother tongue, and they're not all like doing crazy Russian accents or something like that. They're actually speaking their own language. It's great. What do we have for you? We have a trailer for The Hunger Games: Sunrise of the Reaping, which is due for release on the 20th of November.
Hamish Abernathy. I bet I know a thing or two about you. You love her and she loves you.
Only love.
But now, you are on your own.
Welcome to the second quarter quell.
You have no idea what's in store for you. Twice the number of tributes, twice the glory.
Presentation could save your life.
Shoulders back, big smiles.
You're brilliant if you drink it.
I confess to having a moment.
What do you think about the games having 100% more competitors than usual?
From what I've seen, they're 100% stupid as usual. President Snow has all the power.
Why do you submit to it all?
If we can stop the games, we can stop the capital too.
The arena, it's a killing machine. But all machines can be broken.
Go out there and make them remember you.
I'm sick of living in fear. Just surviving. We're not animals to kill for their entertainment.
If you disobey me, we shall open the bloodbath with the longest, most drawn-out death your people have ever seen. And may the odds be.
We have a bit of news here that apparently David Lowery's new film, Mother Mary, based its concert scenes on Taylor Swift's Reputation tour. That's a film that stars Anne Hathaway as a legendary pop icon reconnecting with her former dressmaker, played by Michaela Cole. And that's
seeing that on Monday. I'm excited.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, very good. Yes, and then it will hit the rest of us will get to see it on the 24th, which is next Friday. We have a trailer for Insidious: Out of the Further, the 5th installment in the franchise, due for release in August.
How are you doing today? All right. I'm just gonna take a look inside. Looks like there's something stuck in here. Dad, ever since she was born, it's been just the two of us.
Hi.
Hi! We were really happy. Had some sleep. Until I started having these dreams. Maya? I'm scaring my daughter. I need someone to tell me how to stop this.
Those are not dreams, Jawa. You have a rare gift. The ability to travel into the realm between this world and the next one. But you can do something I didn't know was possible. You can bring demons back to the human world permanently.
What happens if I can't control this? Maya? Laia?
That takes me back, because when I was working in cinemas, everyone would come in and say, tickets for Insidious, please. I mean, God, that was maybe the first one. So, God, a long time ago. The Lord of the Rings, The Hunt for Gollum, as we're living in the year of the colon, it appears, has confirmed its casting and characters. Jamie Dornan is going to play Strider, or Aragorn. Sir Ian McKellen returns as Gandalf, because who else could play Gandalf? No one. Elijah Wood is back as Frodo, and of course he never ages. Lee Pace will be Elven King Thranduil. Kate Winslet will be Marigold, and Lee Woodall will be Halvard, with, of course, director Andy Serkis multitasking, reprising his role as Gollum/Smeagol.
Leo Woodall is brilliant. I can't wait to see him in something like that. So far, he's been in like Bridget Jones' Diary. Oh, Bridget Jones, the latest Bridget Jones, whatever it's called. Mad About the Boy. That's out.
Correct.
And then he's been in this in One Day, the series on Netflix that made everyone cry. And he's been in some bits and pieces. He's a really good actor. He's a fabulous actor, and I think it's good to see him in big productions. And I think like next year is going to be his year. Definitely.
I'll be intrigued to see if they allow him to keep his shirt on in this one as well. He's in danger of being typecast as a hunk, but who wouldn't want that? And lastly, this week, Adria Ariona has landed the role of Maxima in Superman sequel Man of Tomorrow, having beaten off competition in the form of Eva de Dominica, Sydney Chandler, and Grace Van Patten. Also in the cast are Lars Eidinger as Brainiac, plus all the stars of the first James Gunn Superman, due to hit cinemas on the 9th of July, 2027. So, a little bit to wait for that one. And that's the end of the news for this week.
Meet me in the foyer.
Right. It's review time again. And next, a foul and evil beast has risen from the grave for a 20th shuffling and moaning stumble through cinemas, with an unrelated 21st coming in 2028, as the Mummy franchise, starring Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz, will be escaping to Egypt once more. However, this film is unconnected to those family romps and the attempted franchise rebirth back in 2017, starring Tom Cruise. This time, Lee Cronin, who rebooted the Evil Dead franchise, has prized the lid off the mummy's tomb to see if he can breathe life into this previously dormant, dusty and decaying IP. It's time to watch with Mother, or should that be Watch Out for Mummy? Linda.
Our daughter's been missing for 8 years. What was she doing? In a 3,000-year-old sarcophagus.
Haiti was never supposed to be found. She was meant to stay buried.
I want to know all the things about you. Like what? Like how your little piggies taste.
What happened to Katie?
Dad?
Well, I mean, this isn't at all the movie that I was expecting to see, I have to say. Like Lee Cronin, I mean, he's not had a lot of work behind him, but what he's done has been actually really well received. So, and with here, he's also working with people like James Wan and Jason Blum from Blumhouse Production, who made all those Conjuring movies and pretty much all of the Warner Brothers horror sort of, bread and butter over the last 10 years. So 10, 15 years, who knows, And so like, that the film comes with a ready audience, people who know Blumhouse, who know Jason Blum and who know James Wan, know that this is going to give them exactly what they wanted. But I feel like this is a much more elevated film in the genre, and that particular genre. So it does a bit too much, but at the same time, I just think there's so much about it that I really liked. So as you said, so this film, it doesn't have anything to do with the 1999 adventure series and the films that came after it, and it has absolutely nothing to do with the 2017 reboot starring Tom Cruise, the film that effectively ended the Universal's Dark Universe experiment before it even had time to sort of take shape. So in a way, that's a really good thing. And it's a really good thing because it's a film by itself. Did we need two new Mummy franchises to come out at the same time? I don't know, but at the same time, I thought this was, I admire them for working on this. It's really important to say that unlike any of the other Mummy movies, this is actually the very first Mummy movie that was taking place both in Egypt, Cairo in Egypt, and New Mexico in America. All of the characters who are sort of the Arab characters are actually from either from Egypt or from Palestine or from the area. So, and they're all famous or quite really well liked actors from the region. So, or originally from the region. So, it's really good to see that, and I feel like this is the very first movie that does that. So the film centers on Charlie Cannon, who's played by Jack Reynor, who was in Sing Street, also in Midsummer. He's the boyfriend in Midsummer, a film that I have you seen it?
Oh, of course, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So he's the terrified boyfriend in Midsummer. He keeps appearing in these movies where he gets the shit scared out of him every time. So he's a journalist working in Cairo, and his wife is a nurse. I think she's a nurse. She's pregnant, and they're still living in Cairo. But he just gets a phone call saying, "You've got a new job in America, and we want you to start soon." So at the same time, when that one day before they actually move back to the States, something absolutely awful happens. Their daughter, the 8-year-old daughter, gets kidnapped and never to be seen again. He actually sees her. He sees her being taken and chases after the person who took her. Can't catch up with them. They assume the daughter is dead, and then we jump to 8 years in the future, where they are now living in New Mexico in the middle of the desert, surrounded by sort of a very dusty kind of like how the houses have this kind of hue of orange and perfect sort of almost like a Mexican sort of colors and that they're representative. I mean, all of those colors are representative of isolation and how they live in an isolated place, having been through such a devastating loss. So they suddenly get a phone call from Egypt, and him and his wife Larissa, played by Laia Costa, who is excellent here. They get a phone call from one of the detectives who was working on a case back in Egypt. Her name is Dalia Zaki, played by May Kalamawi. Sorry, she's an Egyptian actress. I think American Egyptian, and she does loads of her acting in Arabic, but she also speaks English. So she rings them up suddenly, saying, "We have found your daughter, and you're not going to believe where we found her." So they turn up. I don't know if I should say. I feel like I shouldn't really say. I don't really want to give too much away, but although like I think it is in the trailer. So their daughter, who's been missing for 8 years, who's now 17, turns up in a tomb, a mummy tomb. And the tomb they found that's found after a plane crash. So the plane crashes and the tomb is in the plane, and she manages to survive. They open it and she's in there. She wakes up and she's completely awake, and but she's not the same. She's got these ticks. She has her skin is all been torn. She can't speak anymore, and she's more or less basically possessed. So there are clear references here to The Exorcist and to the Conjuring films and to a number of other sort of cult horrors. But what I really like about it is the way the movie looks. I think it does a lot with. It looks absolutely beautiful. I think that the cinematography is really gorgeous, and I really liked this. I was not expecting to like it. I like what I liked about it is the authenticity of the performances. I think both Jack Reynor and Laia Costa are like character actors, really, as it were, but here brought in to sort of give very much a genre film, a bit of like authenticity, and I think they really do manage it. There are moments where it's trying a bit too hard to sort of the nods and influences can be a little bit too on the nose, but I feel like there is enough here that is genuinely original to make it really worthwhile. There are also themes like, I mean, if you hate movies that have that, like with creepy kids in horrors, there is a performance by the young daughter. So when Katie is taken 8 years beforehand, the mum is pregnant, and she's gives birth to this new baby, and by the time Katie is back, her sister is actually 8 years old, and her name is Maud, and she's played by an actress called Billy Roy, who I have to say does an absolutely fantastically unsettling performance, like a perfect kind of creepy kid performance, to a point where you're like, I had to close my eyes a few times. I was like, again, I'm going to say this again. So the Arab actors, May Kalamawi, Hayat Kamil, and May El Ghedi. I hope I pronounced that right. Again, all brilliant performances, and yet again proof that don't need to go and hire people who just look Arab. You hire Arab actors to play Arab characters, and that is very important. And it was not done in the past, and it has annoyed people enormously. I salute them for doing this, and I think for that reason alone, they get an extra star, because I was going to go for 3, but for that reason alone, I'm giving them 4 out of 5 stars, because I really respect any film maker or any production company that does its research and actually allows sort of local talent to be involved in movies when the film is being made in their own country. All in all, I thought this was really fun. I think this is gonna do really well at the box office. It may even kick off Super Mario, the Mario Brothers movie, whatever it's called. I think that's gonna knock it off the #1 spot next weekend. I mean, this weekend coming. This is gonna make a ton of money.
Wow. Okay. That's quite a surprise, I suppose. Got so used to these movies flopping that yeah, I wasn't expecting a positive
Oh,
review.
these movies don't flop. They make
Well,
a lot of money.
yeah.
They don't flop. I mean, the Blumhouse movies always make money.
So I meant more mummy movies.
Yeah. Oh, mummy movies. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think this is different enough, and I think it's getting some really weird reaction from critics. Really like well-respected critics really like it. Some of the not so well-known critics are not so sure about it, and I thought it was well enough. I think, as I said, the references are a bit too on the nose, but at the same time, I think it does something unique in the way it showcases the sort of creepiness of losing a child. I mean, obviously, as with any other horror movie, what you're seeing on screen isn't what the film is about. It's more about that kind of like worry about losing a child, the worry about inhabiting, like being isolated, and the isolation where the family ends up. It creates that kind of isolation between the two parents, because they're both blaming each other for the disappearance of the child. And there are loads of themes here if you were looking for them, but I thought it was fairly well done and really extremely well acted, and I enjoyed it while it was on. It's 2 hours and 13 minutes, which I think is a little bit too long, but all in all, I wasn't bored for 1 second.
Okay, wow. Yeah, really intrigued to see it now. So I was so full of hope for the Tom Cruise one, which I can't believe was 9 years ago. But
Yeah.
you know, and that started quite well, and then absolutely turned into a train wreck about halfway through. But no, this sounds really interesting. So yeah, I think I'll be catching this. Although another scary one, so I'll have to take someone to hold my hand. But
It is really, really like graphic, and I'm not going to spoil it for you. Try
no.
and see it if you can.
Yeah. I've already seen some people online complaining about the poster being too scary to be.
Oh,
to be,
come on.
yeah, but yeah, no, that's what people just like to complain these days. So yeah, but fabulous. Okay, well, thank you very much, Linda.
Meet me in the foyer.
Right, now it's time for another of Jawa's classic movie moments, and this week we're looking at another film from 1976, celebrating its 50th anniversary, the final film of a genuine cinema legend, my favourite director, a black comedy thriller. So we're all friends here. In fact, I think of you as family, so let me explain the plot of Alfred Hitchcock's Family Plot.
Find him, and I'll pay you $10,000.
That's Madame Blanche, a medium. Being a master spiritualist myself, I can assure you that Madame Blanche is a fake.
What do we have to do for the money?
Find one man.
What's his name?
Nobody knows.
Where is he?
Nobody knows.
But let us go on. I see a name strangely familiar. I see a title. The implication is quite grave.
Never liked them multiple funerals.
Cemeteries make my bones rattle. Let us leave these losers and find a winner. Miss Karen Black.
If a man my age is gonna get kidnapped by a woman, he wants it to be 25.
Mr. Bruce Dern.
Your husband tried to kill me and you were in on it.
Miss Barbara Harris.
How can you do this to me?
And Mr. William Devane, whose charm hides more than it reveals.
We'll have to eliminate these two ourselves.
I can't.
You must.
He's after us.
Absolutely perfect.
Blanche?
Brakes don't work.
Poor Madame Blanche. I've grown very fond of that girl. Are you all right, Madame Blanche?
So, Family Plot is a 1976 American black comedy thriller directed by Alfred Hitchcock, as I say, in his final directorial feature, based on Victor Canning's 1972 novel The Rainbird Pattern, which Ernest Lehman adapted for the screen. And of course, Lehman had also written a script for Hitchcock's North by Northwest, his only original screenplay. It's about fake psychic Blanche Taylor and her boyfriend George Lumley, who attempt to locate the nephew of wealthy, guilt-ridden, elderly Julia Rainbird. Julia's deceased sister gave the baby boy up for adoption, but Julia now wants to make him her heir and will pay Blanche $10,000 to find him. At the same time, we meet successful jeweler known as Arthur Adamson. He and his living girlfriend Fran kidnap millionaires and dignitaries, confining them in a secure room in the cellar of their home and return them in exchange for ransoms in the form of valuable diamonds. So it stars Karen Black as Fran, Bruce Dern is George Lumley, Barbara Harris is Blanche Taylor, William Devane is Arthur Adamson, Kathleen Nesbitt is Julia Rainbird, and Ed Lauter is Joseph P. Maloney. And it's certainly not one of the great Hitchcock films, but it's a really enjoyable film, I have to say. When I got this fabulous box set given to me in my 20s of the Hitchcock films, I don't know how many are in there. It's one of the really gigantic box you can still get. I went through it plus all my others in sequential order, and this came up last. And it's I think it's fair to say that in a lot of artistic endeavors, even those with prodigious, I should say, talent, later life sort of dulls the artistic skills, and songwriters, novel writers, filmmakers, actors, they all become a little bit less sharp than perhaps they were at their peak. And that's true here. It's, as I say, it's not one of the great Hitchcock films, but it's a hugely enjoyable film. It's one of his lighter films. All of his films have great humor in them, but this, whilst not an out-and-out comedy, is more comical than most. And it's sort of, well, to cut to the conclusion of the film, it sort of winks at you all the time, letting you know that Hitchcock knows this is a game. We're all having fun, and yeah, it's a sort of comedy, black comedy caper movie, really. The book was suggested to him by his wife Alma Revel, who was such a key part in his entire career. Really, she was almost sort of an equal credit in his career, finding projects, working on a production, editing scripts, editing films, all of that. And so, as I say, she suggested he read this book, and he did and loved it. So he took up the rights to make it. He originally hired Anthony Schaefer to write the script for him, although Schaefer wasn't keen because he said that Hitchcock wanted to make it in the style of a sort of Noel Coward comedy farce, very much in the style of Blithe Spirit, which I reviewed previously, with Margaret Rutherford playing a psychic. So I think his lack of enthusiasm led to Hitchcock cutting ties with him, and he then hired Lehman, who, as I say, he'd worked on the brilliant North by Northwest. So it had been, say, about 20 years between those two films, and Lehman said that he could tell that Hitchcock didn't have the same sort of energy that he had had, and they didn't have their sort of head-to-head discussions on the script and sort of batting ideas backwards and forwards with Hitchcock going over every detail. That wasn't the case now, and in fact, Hitchcock suffered a heart attack in September of '74, and then had a pacemaker fitted, and really began to sort of lose energy during the shoot, and with only a few weeks of shooting left, he was doing the unthinkable really for Hitchcock. He was shortening days, he was cutting scenes to stay on schedule and within budget, and simplified certain scenes where it said that he sort of sacrificed clarity for speed. All of which is sort of, as I say, unthinkable for Hitchcock. But as I say, he'd been in the film business since the 20s, and or no, before that actually, I think. But his directorial debut was in the 1920s, so he's been in there 50 years. He's made over 50 films. I think we can forgive him for slowing down a little bit in his later years. So they originally came back with a draft script calling the film Deception. And then it was eventually changed at the very last minute to Family Plot, actually at the suggestion of an employee of the studio who put it forward, and Hitchcock couldn't think of anything better, so that's what he went with. He has a cameo, of course, as Hitchcock always does. It's about 40 minutes into the film, if you're looking out for it, where in an office of the Registrar of Births and Deaths, you can see Hitchcock's famous silhouette through a doorway. Yeah, always good to look out for those. Of course, the most disputed of those is Rope, where to this day people still say that it's Hitchcock walking along the street at the opening shot of the film, which it isn't, and his cameo comes much later. It's quite hard to spot, and it's very clever, but look out for lights is all I'll say on that one. I think my favourite has to be, well, maybe not my favorite, but one of the cleverest has to be Lifeboat, where he has an absolutely genius cameo. So look out for that as well. In the cast, he considered Jack Nicholson for the George Lumley role, but he was busy working on One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So he then cast Bruce Dern, who had actually worked with Nicholson on The King of Marvin Gardens, which is another great film to look out for. And Dern had actually worked with Hitchcock before on the Hitchcock Presents series, and had a very small part in Marnie back in '64, where he plays a doomed sailor in a flashback scene. Sybil Shepherd was apparently lobbying for the role of Fran, which went to Karen Black in the end, and she was cast the minute Hitchcock met her. Scholars of Hitchcock will know that he, despite being the absolute icon that he is and creating the masterpiece films that he did, in his later career, he struggled to get backing for his films and was having to sort of cut corners on budget. So he would sort of aspire to cast the big names, but couldn't get them. So despite these actors now being very well known to us, they aren't the sort of A-list that he would have wanted for the cast. But they are a marvelous cast. I love Bruce Dern and Barbara Harris. I think they're brilliant, and Karen Black is a wonderful actress. William Devane, I really only know from television, so it's quite a surprise to see him here. But he's brilliant in this film, and in actual fact, Hitchcock chose him over Burt Reynolds, who was up for this role, but he chose Devane. And Liza Minnelli was actually suggested by the studio for the Blanche role, but Hitchcock wasn't too keen, and he felt her salary would blow the budget, so he cast Barbara Harris after seeing her in A Thousand Clowns. The score is again really intriguing. It's written by, it's composed by John Williams, and it's the only John Williams Hitchcock collaboration. And he said that it was a great privilege and a wonderful experience working with Hitchcock. And critically, it's really, really well liked. Vincent Canby of the New York Times called the film a witty, relaxed lark. Certainly Hitchcock's most cheerful film in a long time, but hardly innocent. And Roger Ebert gave the film 3 out of 4 stars, saying it's a delight for 2 contradictory reasons: because it's pure Hitchcock with its meticulous construction and attention to detail, and because it's something new for Hitchcock, a macabre comedy. Essentially, he doesn't go for shock here or for violent effects, but for the gradual tightening of a narrative noose, which is a really nice way of putting it. Yeah, it's got quite a sort of labyrinthine plot, but again, it took me a couple of watches actually to entirely to keep up with it. But there's so many light-hearted moments as well, and it is a really well-constructed plot. Typically, there are some wonderful Hitchcock camera shots and movements, and yeah, it has a 90% rating actually on Rotten Tomatoes, which was slightly surprising for me. But no, it is a good film, and Barbara Harris was nominated for Best Actress at the Golden Globes. Apparently, Bruce Dern did question Hitchcock as to why he was cast, and Hitchcock replied, because Mr. Pequenow wanted $1 million. And Hitchcock doesn't pay $1 million. And apparently it took Bruce Dern a little time to realize that by Mr. Pequenow, he meant Pacino, who always seems to come up in these reviews. Yeah, he also said, Dern, he said that he thought that Hitchcock at times wasn't sort of paying attention. He was tired and he was just sort of sitting in his chair, but he would notice everything. He'd see a shadow on a performer's face, and he would spot it, and he would snap to attention and have it reshot and pick up these tiny details that no one else would notice, but would be sort of gigantic on the cinema screen. So, he was the talent, sort of the master talent that right to the end of his career. Yeah, after this, Hitchcock did work on a couple more script ideas, hoping to make another film. He was working on a film called The Short Night, another spy thriller, but due to his ill health, that didn't come about. So he finished his career on 53 feature films, which is a staggering contribution to cinema. And as I say, really one of his most comedic films. The only other out-and-out comedy he did in his career was the film called Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which isn't an inspiration for the Brad Pitt Angelina Jolie film, and isn't much of a comedy, to be honest. So you can skip that one if you like, if you're doing a Hitchcock marathon. Yeah, I mean, essentially in this film, it's great fun. The cast are great. The 4 leads are wonderful, especially the female leads, who are Barbara Harris and Karen Black. They're absolutely brilliant in this film. And as I say, Hitchcock would retire after this, really, and he passed away on the 29th of April 1980. So if you're a Hitchcock fan, I think you have to add this to your watch list. Be a completist, watch this, his final film, and I think you'll have a really enjoyable evening. So yeah, that's the family plot unwound.
It's not a film that I've seen in a long, long time. I couldn't tell you the plot of it. I just fairly sort of like certain I saw it when it came on the TV at some point. Yeah, I can't really remember much about it, but I am going to go back and watch it if I can, actually, because that'd be really good. It's like something to look forward to, a Hitchcock movie that I can't remember anything about.
Yeah. And unlike, say, some of the films preceding this at the end of his career, like Topaz, it's not a total, Topaz is a mess. But this, it's fun. And as I say, Barbara Harris is wonderful and Bruce Dern's always brilliant. So yeah, I do recommend it.
I have one more movie that I want to talk about, just really very, very briefly, and genuinely just a couple of minutes, so stay with me. So this is a movie that is called Glenrothen.
Your native land. Nice to have you back, Donald.
Sure. My wee brother, it's been nearly 40 years since you left for America. So, you came then?
Did you have to march him to the airport at gunpoint? I don't know what happened between you two. This is a great opportunity for you guys to clean all this up.
You were missed at his funeral.
You never missed me.
No, but I did. I've decided to resign as chairman of the distillery. My brother will take over the reins.
What? This is not for me.
It's your birthright.
I'm sorry, Sandy.
Then you leave me no choice but to sell.
This distillery is the heart of this village. This whiskey is these people. You sell it to some outsider and who knows what will happen.
Nothing will change.
Everything will bloody change!
I used to work here fixing things. Now I'm better at breaking them.
You're a devious wee bugger, Donald. Getting the distillery valued behind my back.
We all make mistakes, Dad. It's how we handle it that counts.
Oh, you came back all right. But it wasn't for me.
Oh, too old for this!
Ah, says him!
I wish I could have stayed. I don't think any of us realized how much you sacrificed. I know I didn't. Be careful with time. It can creep up on you.
I've missed you, Donald. Your family. Better late than never, eh? I've got a stew on the range, if you're in the mood. No rush. It'll keep. It's horrible. Truly horrible.
The directorial debut of actor Brian Cox, who we all love, and who is a force to be reckoned with in the acting realm. However, I'm sorry to say that this isn't the film that's going to make of him a film director, or is likely to make anyone want to give him money to make a second movie. So let's put it this way. So film stars Brian Cox and Alan Cumming, Shirley Henderson, who is fabulous. Probably the best thing about the movie is Shirley Henderson. And the so Cox and Cumming play estranged brothers. One who is a distillery owner in the middle of the Scottish Glens, and Cumming plays his brother Donald, who is an artist and musician who owns this kind of blues club in Chicago. And again, as I say, they've been estranged for 40 years, and because Sandy's sick, and Cox's character is called Sandy, because Sandy's sick, he wants to be reunited with his brother and wants to see him. And basically, it's a film about reconciliations, going back to the heart of the land and appreciating Scotland once again after being away for a very long time. It's cliche upon cliche upon cliche. Alan Cummings is absolutely terrible in this movie. I'm really sorry. I'm a big fan of him. He is just terrible. He doesn't know how to play his character, and it's not entirely his fault. I mean, had he been given the right notes, maybe this would have been. The screenplay is not good enough. Actually, direction-wise, it's not too bad. Or I must say, cinematography-wise, it's not bad. It actually, but then again, it's really hard to make an ugly movie when you set it in the Glens. So, it's cliche-laden, but like trope over trope after trope. And I thought it would never end. It's only 97 minutes or 96 minutes. And I thought it felt like a day and a half long. Go see something else.
Well, there we go. I did hear Brian interviewed about it, and he was very enthusiastic, but a little passion project for Brian.
When I looked last, it had 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah.
Wow.
I know. Wow. It's very sad. It literally had 0 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, well, poor Brian. But it's good to see that they at least kept up the rule, stuck to the law that you're not allowed to make a film in Scotland without Shirley Henderson in it.
She's so good. She's genuinely the best thing in it. Like, but she's incapable of turning in a bad performance.
Yes.
Like, she just can't do it. So, like, she plays this character who is really the heart and soul of this village. She's because this whole village is like, lives around this distillery and stays alive because of the whiskey distillery, and she is the kind of the architect of this. She's Dern, blah blah. But yeah, again, she's the best. I just wish they'd given her a role that actually made sense. But here we go. It's not.
Perhaps if you fancy a boozy double, you can see this whiskey-based film from Scotland, along with the Mother's Pride from England, and have yourself a pint of ale from England and a whiskey chaser from Scotland. Yeah, maybe that's the best we can say for it.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Linda, for that little cheeky bonus. And yes, brothers and sisters, this is the end of Act 3 and the conclusion of another labyrinthine plot that made up this family-friendly episode of Meet Me in the Foyer. I hope those listeners with arachnophobia weren't disturbed by the content of the show and were able to find solace in the appearance of the mummy. As we're a family now, when we're apart, we're still together in heart and mind. And to reinforce that bond, head to our Patreon to listen again to this episode, catch up on all the previous shows in their full extended director's cut form, and enjoy our specials as well. So it just remains for me to thank Linda for her wonderful work again. Thank you very much, Linda.
Thank you.
Marvelous as always. And thank you very much for listening. And ask, why don't you join us again next time, where you can meet me again in the foyer with Linda. So see you soon.
See you soon.
Subscribe now to help fans supporting food banks. Go to patreon.com/rock and roll football and look for your favourite club subscription pages and sign up with your favourite presenter. Rock and roll football. No adverts, no VAR, no limits.
Meet Me in the Foyer.
Thank you for choosing to meet me in the foyer again. And this week feels like a fiesta of film. No, I did not. I've left the word out. I've put them in the wrong order. That's what I've done. Right.
Okay. Hang on. Wait. Sorry. Just getting my notes. I had all this time to get my notes. Right. Okay. I am ready.
Cool. Take two. Right. It's review time again. And next, a foul and evil beast has risen from the grave for a 20th shuffling and moaning stumble through cinemas, with an unrelated 21st coming in 2028, as the Mummy franchise, starring Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz, will be escaping to Egypt once more. However, this film is unconnected to those family romps, and the attempt at a franchise what does that word say? Yes, sorry. However, this film is unconnected to those family romps and the attempted franchise rebirth back in 2017, starring Tom Cruise. This time, Lee Cronin, who rebooted the Evil Dead franchise, has prized the lid off the mummy's tomb to see if he can breathe life into this previously... Oh, I'm stumbling terribly, sorry. This time, Lee Cronin has rebooted the Evil Dead... This time, Lee Cronin, who rebooted the Evil Dead franchise, has prized the lid off the mummy's tomb to see if he can breathe life into this previously dormant, dusty and decaying IP. It's time to watch with Mother, or should that be Watch Out for Mummy? Linda.